Food. It is as essential as air is to breathe and water is to drink. Food is life. But where does our food come from? The Bahamas has more than 2,000 farmers, but it's hardly enough to keep up with our growing population. Or is it? We traveled the nation to find out the answers to the questions everyone is asking. Can we grow enough fruit and vegetables? Can we raise enough sheep, goat, and chickens? Can we catch enough fish to feed a country with almost 400,000 people? Keep watching as we find out from the people who make it happen. Can we feed ourselves? At 48 miles long and almost 4 miles wide at its widest point, Cat Island sits squarely in the central Bahamas. First inhabited by the Lucayans before the landfall of Columbus wiped them out, the island's name is shrouded in controversy. For more than 400 years after discovery, the island was known as San Salvador. It's a point that was bitterly argued by scholar, historian, and Cat Island resident Eris Monker. Monker contends that mapmakers got it right the first time, and Cat Island is truly the island where Christopher Columbus discovered the New World. Nevertheless, historians suggest the island's name came from the pirate, Arthur Cat. Despite being considered the least known of the islands, Cat Island is the cultural mecca of the Bahamas and has produced the most well-known Bahamian of them all, Sir Sidney Poitier. Poitier became the first black man to win an Academy Award. Cat Island is the epicenter of rake and scrape music in the Bahamas and has produced countless Bahamian musicians of note, including the great Tony McKay, also known as Exuma, the Obeah Man. Another famous product of the island is cascarilla, the bark used to make the Italian liqueur Campari. Cat Island is home to the highest point in the Bahamas, Mount Alvernia. While the island is famous for all of these things, her farmers are hoping to give Cat Island another feather in its cap as being one of the islands that will play a key role in feeding our nation.
Yes, that's organic. 10, okay. See, that's I want anything else? Because I put that in the back there already. Yeah.
There is a bakery in New Bight, Cat Island, where the smiles are as sweet as the products they sell. Olive's Bakery and Redland Acres Farm are two of the businesses owned by Cat Island farmer and businesswoman Olive King. Olive, her sister, and husband run the bakery, but the farming side of the operation is all hers.
This is my farm in my backyard. Papayas, a little of everything, just about. Banana, papayas, corn, peas, tomatoes, cowpeas, corn. I have some fruit trees, pear, a small mango tree just growing. But it's so good to just walk out of your door and you can go in the back and pick some fresh fruits and vegetables. And all my life, from I was a child, this is all I know because my father didn't have a job while I was growing up. And so I know about having the 2-3 drums of peas, corn, bean that my father grew in his farm. So it's like a hobby to me. And I think that we should always farm so that we can feed ourselves in the Bahamas because we don't know what this world is coming to. And so we need to grow some things, especially in our backyard. Backyard farming, I think, is the way to go.
Her enterprising nature is no doubt a big part of her drive to succeed at farming. She's done well enough in her other businesses to be satisfied, but for Olive, she believes deeply in farming the land her family has owned for generations. She says no matter what she has going on, farming will always play an important role in her life.
Right in the area here, I had a gentleman come in the afternoon, and he picked 2.5 bucket of beans right in this area. I already picked the peas of these trees, but if you notice, the trees are still hang with peas, so I have a second crop. And so if you put your mind into farming, you can do it.
Olive has several fields where she grows her tomatoes, beans, corn, okras, peppers, and even honey. Her favorite field, however, is just a short drive up a very famous road in Cat Island. Her field is at the foot of Como Hill, or Mount Alvernia, the highest point in the Bahamas. She swears by the traditional approach to farming.
I love the slash and burn method because you have the stumps for your bean vines. With the tractor, it brings a lot of prickle, shepherd needle. You have no stumps for your bean. Everything will have to be grown on the ground. But with the stumps, the beans are grown around the stumps, and it's much easier for you to pick than to have to be bending down so low to pick it off the ground.
Olive is an active member of the Cat Island farming fraternity. It's in her blood. She says when it comes to farming opportunities, Cat Island's time is long overdue. She says Cat Island's farmers are looking for technical assistance.
Can Cat Island farmers take care of Cat Island's needs, you think?
Yes, I think we can. Once we get some kind of assistance, because right now the piece that I have cut all the way in the back there, if I have a lot of load to lift out to the road, I need like a feeler road to go get towards that, okay? And so once we have the amenities that we need, we can feed ourselves.
Okay.
If you're not lazy, that's what I should say.
Every Saturday morning, Olive joins the other ladies who make up the Cat Island Farmers Market at Smith's Bay Dock. It's a small but committed group of mostly women farmers and straw craftspersons selling produce and other products. Among these ladies is one who is very special to Olive, Mammy.
I was farming from my grandmother time. I could remember farming from my grandmother time. I born in Dumfries, Cat Island on the 14th day of May 1945, and I was farming ever since. All I know is farming. That's why I believe in farming.
This is the land that Mammy, Paula Romer, has farmed for almost 50 years. It's land that's produced a lot of things over the years. For Mammy, the best product has been her ability to educate her children. Mammy is proud of what she's been able to produce. She's focused on growing her peppers now, but she's still concerned that when it's time to go to the packing house, the farmers are not getting the best deal possible.
With the packing house now, what I'm saying, like, sometimes we might not have the quality. And then the thing what make it worse for me, we used to farm in Charleston Gray and Jubilee. And this melon, what they want, it come hard for me. Because the people are asking for the old original melon. The product now, I see that more in the United States, but not in the Bahamas. And the people is asking for the big white one, the long one. I just have them that long. You got to go down to lift them up. Sometimes 2 people got to lift up one. I had a Charleston Gray one year weigh 56 pounds. 56 pounds. And we could do it. I raised watermelon without fertilizer. Without fertilizer in the years gone by. We ain't had none. We ain't had no fertilizer. And they grow extra big and sweet. Yes, we can make it. We just got to put our shoulder to the wheel.
Mammy insists that all sides can benefit from the input of Cat Island farmers, and while she appreciates the assistance she gets from agriculture officials, she's not so gung-ho on some of the ideas being put forward. One of those ideas is the use of tractors to clear the land. While a tractor will be helpful for some, she feels it comes with some unwanted nuisances, especially for bean farmers.
I like beans. And I don't care for the truck because I don't have no stump to put the beans. Beans don't grow good on ground. Beans like to climb. The more they can climb, the more you get. Beans like to be exposed. And beans don't like too much rain. See, when you plant them low and the rain comes, you don't get no bean. You get lone false bean and the black fly take it. Bean don't like down. Bean like to be exposed. The more stumps you have, the more beans you get. And I working by a wally area. The more you plant them to the wall, oh, they love to climb those walls. You get all sorts of beans.
Mammy is an example of how farming can be a fruitful career option. She's proud of what she's been able to do for her children through her farms and encourages young people to be more open to it as a career.
Farming is essential. I've educated 11 children, especially my oldest son, Philip Romer, the chief aviation inspector. He just come back from Tennessee. And he was educated with farming money. I went to the bank in 1983. Never had a bank account. And I went to see the manager. The manager said, "What's your occupation?" I said, "I'm a farmer by trade and a straw vendor." He said, "Come." And he lent me the money to send that boy for 3 years to St. John's College. I get the money without the loan, without a bank account. Because that's what I tell him. He said, "I need no more." He said, "Because what happening now to the Royal Bank is straw vendors and farmers." And that's how I get my loan, 1983. I send that boy away to school, pay money for him. When he needed money, he get money from me, off my farm. He been all over the States to school. That's why I was to the expo. They write a history of me. It's what farming can do. I pay for Bahamas Leaving Certificate, Junior Certificate, BGCSE out my farm for my children. Have custom, some to BC, some a private company or farming. I paid for their school.
Mammy says our young people are bypassing a valuable opportunity when they look beyond farming. While she freely admits the lifestyle isn't for everyone, she thinks our country's social issues can benefit from more young people going back to the land.
The younger generation, they don't want to work. See, this getting up in the morning, they don't want to leave the bed. And then since this cell phone and this WhatsApp coming, worse. It worse. All they went to buy that phone. And then they could have been out making something. See that big piece field right down the road there? That's mine. That's going straight back. I done pick the piece and still it bear back more than how it been before. That same piece field right down the road. So if you farm, you can make it. Yes, I agree, 100%.
We are very, very excited here at BAIC because we're bringing fresh produce and fruits from the family islands, grown by farmers at very affordable prices, and they're harvested the same week and brought to Bahamian consumers and for families to put food on the table in a very affordable way. And we at BAIC, we are making that happen, and we're doing it every Saturday. This is BAIC, growing, partnering, empowering.
Snowball, what were you saying about the joy you get from eating something that you...
Oh yeah, I do enjoy eating my stuff out of the farm, my green beans. When I make my grits especially, oh I enjoy that baby, especially when I come out of the boat. I got a fresh meal of fish, I done scrape that and throw some pepper, some lime and some salt in the score of that boy. Like going to town. I love the head and want you to know that. of the head of the fish.
Corrine Newbold is a woman of many talents. A master fisher and a growing farmer, Corrine is Cat Island's postmaster. Most mornings before she heads into the office, she's on the road to her farm. Corrine is a hands-on woman who enjoys the challenge of getting tough tasks done through her ingenuity and sheer grit, like getting to one of her farms.
You enjoy taking a picture of me and my Monserrati.
That's right. You know it.
Corrine's family rents cars on Cat Island, so it wasn't difficult for her to get her hands on this four-wheel drive, manual transmission Mitsubishi Montero. It's perfect for her to get to her field. It's hard work, but she's not afraid of hard work at all.
You have some people who are just lazy. They think hard work just kill you, hard work don't kill you. And I've experienced this challenge. I was doing it from I was age 6. I know what it is to get out there in the farm. So that's why I love it so much. I have a passion for it. I don't need company to go in the field either. Go by myself.
What does that give you? What does that do for you?
It motivates me. Trust me, and it makes me want to do. It makes me want to do more. It saves you a lot. It saves you a lot of money. Trust me. People who don't have anything today don't want anything because there's money out there in the bush, and there's money out there in the sea.
You fish too.
Oh yes, sir. From age 6. But I love it to death. The only thing you ain't get me doing now is dive, but anything else when it comes to the boat, that's me. It's gonna be a little bumpy ride, but just fasten your seatbelts. Okay, we're here. The Haitian just finished this yesterday. Trust me, but by the time he's done, we're really looking at $800 to $900. By the time he done weed, and sometime before he finished weeding one area, the bush started growing.
This field is Corrine's pride and joy. It started as an experiment when she was told that Cat Island wasn't suited for growing Eleutheris famed Sugarloaf pineapples. Like most challenges, Corrine set out to prove them wrong, and so far, she's been doing just that. One patch has now turned into a full-fledged field, and she's planning to expand even further.
This is one of my first block over here. When I first got started, it's right here. I got to buy the fertilizer, please. Praise the Lord.
What's that?
Fertilizer. Every 6 months or so, we just toast them up with the fertilizer. My baby look good, eh? Woo-hoo. Wow.
It's a tremendous source of joy for her to see her hard work growing right before her eyes.
My pineapple here, boy. See here? Bless the Lord.
Through her raw curiosity and trial and error, Newbold has learned a lot about the crops she's growing.
See how this have the hard thing like that? This here is what you call, one of them is slip and one is a sucker. What you call them, slip and sucker. Now, those what you hold in, if you look at it, you can see the difference what I talking about. You see now?
Yeah.
Okay, so this here would bear faster than that.
Okay.
This? Yes. Yeah, this is what you call the slip. Yeah. This yeah. It bear quicker than the other one. It's gotta be my gloves and I don't know these. That it is quickly sticky there. Okay.
All of this started as a means for Corrine to stay in touch with the land. She's been farming from she was a little girl, but she's seeing clear signs that her second career as a farmer may be her most rewarding. The farm is taking care of itself, and she believes other Cat Islanders can help cut down on our food bill if they start out small as she did.
That's how you do it, G.
Just like seeds flung onto fertile land, she believes her neighbors can do well for themselves with a little push from farmers like her. That's why she takes pride in showing off her fields.
Oh Lord, this is a whole stuff with it. Ready to plant? Charlie's encouraging me now. I was discouraged the last time I've been here to do this. See these little grocery and now, but look at this. I coming through and I can say, I go, what?
All right, Ms. Noble. Can we feed ourselves?
Yes, we can.
How?
By farming. In order to make money, you got to spend money now. You're not going to be able to do it yourself. Some people are afraid of the sun. So if you're afraid of the sun, then let your money burn, okay? I work, and I'm able to accomplish this, and it's because I spend my money to do so. And I believe that we can feed ourselves from the ground if we want to. There's certain things that we cannot grow or we cannot make, but then we should save our money to buy stuff like that if we can't make, like sugar, cream, western oil and stuff like that, tomato paste. I make my own tomato paste from my tomatoes. So that's something I don't have to go in the store to buy. I don't have to buy canned peas or canned beans, right? So we can do it. Yes, we can.
Corrine plans to expand her pineapple fields until she gets to a point where she can go no further. It's a crop that's in high demand, and her product is as good as Eleuthera's. She's driven to prove that Cat Island can produce great products for the market. She's also set her sights on making a name for herself as a livestock farmer.
There's only some, only come now. Just about all of them now have babies. And the little
Just
ones
as her
like
farm
crazy now.
started as a means of taking care of her needs, so too did her goat farming. From a handful of animals, Corrine has several flocks that make up well over 100 animals on another of her fields. She wants to supply Cat Island's goat meat and help build up the island's reputation as a good producer of the protein. Her goat population is another point of pride. But goats aren't the only protein she's growing on her farm. She's also raising a few pigs, and while she insists they're for her own consumption, something tells us she'll eventually have pigs on hand for customers too.
Well, we spend more than $1 billion as a country bringing food into the country every year.
Yeah, they just don't have no confidence within themselves, I assume. No confidence. And we can do it.
My name is Harrison King, a farmer here in Cat Island.
What do you have on the farm?
Right now we have dry corn ready to harvest, peas ready to harvest also, green beans are here, the okra is finished, and we have cassava also in here. Pumpkin, we still got pumpkin on the ground. Tomatoes are still on the ground, and sweet potato, they're still here to harvest. So we look at the scope here, all the way back there. The corn stalks you see standing there, that is what left of the green corn. Green corn is a good seller. And after that, then you have the dry corn for the grits, and so we love that island grits. So most time persons come to Cat Island, they want to know where the grits come from. If this y'all grits or if this Nassau grits. They enjoy eating this Indian corn grits that we do here in Cat Island. When we come in here to harvest the dry corn, this is the way we shuck the dry corn. Take it here. That's what we look down. There, the dry corn.
Harrison King has had several jobs in his life, but he insists none give him as much fulfillment as his role as a farmer. Being able to feed his neighbors is a duty that fills his heart.
I love growing my own food. I am able to sell, and I'm able to to bless others from the farm by giving to the elderly folks in the community a handful of corn, some peas or beans or okra. And that's a part of my blessing.
King also sees himself as a teacher. He says he's been blessed to have a field where the richness of the soil has allowed him to succeed. That's why he's always giving back food and knowledge.
As farmers, we do not eat our seed, and so we save seeds. And so you're looking here at the okra, and these we allow these to dry, that we would have seeds to plant for the next crop of okra, like the corn and anything else.
King's blessings has led him to one conclusion.
I am the best. I'm the best farmer in Cat Island. And so my motto is give, and it should be given to you. And so when I grow stuff and I give to the elderly folks in the community, look here, God just blessed my farm, and I never run out of stuff on the farm. I always have something.
All joking aside, Harrison King firmly believes the national food bill is destined to come down. But he says it will take a lot of hard work and imagination, especially with the products that grow in abundance in the Bahamas.
We can export. And I usually say with our papaya that we grow here in Cat Island and the amount of watermelon that we grow, I always say that we should not be importing anything watermelon, anything papaya, because we should be able to make our own juice. We should be able to make juice and nectars from papaya. And not import those things into this country. And if we go into it, then we will find that we have other things that we can work. We make jam out of the watermelon. We have pumpkin where we can make pumpkin pie and pumpkin pudding. There are things that if we just be able to have the facilities to process, to pack and to can, we can do well in farming.
King says that while Cat Island farmers will take any help they can get, government's assistance should be focused on manufacturing and processing. He says technical assistance and processing will give Cat Islanders a unique way to contribute to feeding ourselves.
Can we feed ourselves in the Bahamas?
Yes, we can feed ourselves if we would get our act together. We have the land, we have the space, and farming should be one of our major or main industry. We can feed ourselves because we have the land. If you would work the land, we can do it. We can cut down on that import. And again, if you know, we are willing to farm. There are some young people in the Bahamas that are willing to farm, but you know, farmers need to be treated much better than they're being treated now. And I'm quite sure if the government would look at farmers as farming as an industry in the Bahamas, where farmers are treated like the people in this country that feed everyone else, we can do well.
My name is Romeo Josie, and I'm from Exuma. My dream, agritourism. I envision owning and operating my business on the islands of my heritage with having people visit. I want them to come and stay where they can get exotic fruits. I've had this dream since I was first introduced to the subject at BAMSI. What I learned at BAMSI was how to marry the science of agriculture and the art of agriculture. Learning at BAMSI takes place in the classroom, but it also happens in the field. BAMSI is so important for the Bahamas because it helps the young generation to understand how important agriculture is to this country. BAMSI is also helping us to realize the vision of our forefathers, as this country can be great and have an awesome economy through diversification in agriculture and marine. Now I have a role to play in the future of farming in the Bahamas. BAMSI is definitely changing lives for a stronger Bahamas.
Should I grow too?
Huh? No, at this time, nobody in Cat Island can find none. On the right here.
Wow.
See?
They take care of them for months.
So
Fatten them up.
I feed them.
And they love coconut.
Love coconut.
And the chicken.
Noni.
Yeah.
So I don't drink noni, so I let them eat and drink noni.
I said give me my chicken now.
Okay. So when things get tough, I go get 2 crab boil,
Oh yeah.
2 flour bag of flour, and we have them crab and dough.
dough.
Crab and dough.
Cedric Wilson is extremely proud of his backyard farm.
Soursop. Right now, we know people right now who have frozen soursop, frozen mango, not full mango, squeezed, soursops already in the freezer ready, and guava ready. If you want guava duff today, we can give you guava duff today. We could give you soursop juice today. We could give you mango juice today, although mango is out of season.
Native fruit trees aren't the only things growing in the backyard of the soon-to-be retired contractor.
Oh! When we go to the farm, I just took most of them out of the farm the other day because in here, gone. Oh! Oh!
They're gone, man. You know what?
No, there's a little while here. So all this is fence all the way through the hill. But this is much they've done to me. I mean, what they've eaten. Oh, they are. Oh, they're coming. You know the master's ways.
Wilson has several head of sheep roaming the hills of Old Bite Cat Island on land that's been in his and Olga's family for generations.
Oh!
This is Olga Wilson, the other side of the operation. Olga is a retired school teacher who has returned to her homestead to take on a life of a farmer and agro-business entrepreneur.
Even though it's hard work, I love farming because as you can see, we're still doing the slash and the burn method. But I feel this still is a better way than using the tractor because when you put the tractor through the land, sometimes the tractor carry the soil and you don't have that soil for the seeds and to yield good crop. But when you do the slash and burn method, I find out that all the substance in the soil and the leaf and everything that burn up is act as a manure beside the fertilizer that you use, and you get a better crop. Okay, in this part of the farm here we have dry pigeon peas and some green pigeon peas. Not all of them are mature yet or come to maturity. And on the ground you can see some potato vine. So now this is the month when you go through the vine or through the slip, whatever we call it, and we get potatoes, sweet potatoes. All right? And then further down on the end we have the bean vine. Well, what was in this section here, we had some okras too, but the okra season is over now. So it's just now pigeon peas that we have to reap, the dry pigeon peas or the green pigeon peas and sweet potato and the green bean. Watermelon is over, some pumpkin, but not that much now.
Over in another field, Cedric is still trying to summon his sheep. Farming on steep hills present their own unique challenges.
In these areas, we don't have any abundance of water. The water is very deep in these parts to get water. Roughly to find water in this particular area right now, we have to go at least 200 feet. So what we have to do, we have to bring water from the settlement out here to supplement the farms or the animals here. Whereas in where we came from, we just can turn on a hose. Not yet. We're going to go near the mango salt tree where they are. They answer me yet. I think they may be all the way up, but I know they're here. Oh! You see? So the sheep will come, and what we saw home in the yard, the sheep will come over here and clean all the
Cedric believes that Cat Island's reputation as a farming island could benefit from more livestock production. While Cat Island seems content to keep it old school, Wilson says herding sheep here is an opportunity to create a new market, and he's willing to explore.
These are joy them go great and what they ain't gonna take, you see? I got a couple farms, but I ain't get it all.
Okay.
Olga
I want you
is
to
more
something.
focused on turning traditional crop into value-added products through processing.
Check this out.
She believes in investing in her dreams and has done just that.
So you're gonna make grits with those?
Yeah, I got a mill too. The only farm in Kid Island have a mill. See here? This crown fruit. You see this? Crown fruit, man. Crown fruit. Crown fruit, man. You need one of these to carry back so the agriculture could see. Oh, the pictures will do.
And he's ready to go to the mill then.
Well,
And go to the mill.
yeah.
Only mill in Kid Island.
So since you came in, we would have been able to do a 5 bucket of zinc. You know how long it used to take us to riddle it? We riddle it, and then you had to then sift it out to take on flour. The method we are now using is, and the ratio of this product is roughly a 3 to 1 product. 3 grits to 1 corn flour under the system. So when you bring me a bucket of corn, you notice everybody that comes, they bring an extra bucket because you're going to get roughly 1 bucket of grits and a third of the same bucket of refined product. So you notice everybody who comes with 1 bucket of corn, they bring an extra bucket to put the amount that comes over. And we would be highly praised with this versus York at the exchange. They said when they brought a bucket of corn to you all, they only used to get a bucket of grits. And everybody who came here, they were quite pleased with this operation. Some people sit right there and watch the operation and see what their product, the end product, what they got. And that is why they continue to come.
The corn mill operated by the Wilsons is a godsend for Cat Island farmers growing dry corn. The mill produces grits, cornmeal, and corn flour.
This switch may be going. Because we had a mill in Kid Island, and then the mill went bad, and then we were having problem to process the corn. So what I did, I went on the internet and I find some place in North Carolina, and I purchased a mill. As you went to the house and you saw the mill, and I use the mill and I grind corn now from. The people come all the way from north and south because this is the only mill that is on the island, and I'm in the process of purchasing another mill, which will cost me over $3,000 by the time it is landed with freight. There is somebody else here who have a mill, not a native of Kid Island, but they prefer using him instead of coming to me. All right, but the other farmers come to me and we charge them $10 to grind a pail or what we call a half of a shoe. So we have certain days, but now it turned out to it's an everyday thing. They come, maybe like you saw this morning, they drop off this morning and they expect to get that by tomorrow afternoon. Once the current is on, because it's an electric mill.
On any given day, you can find the Wilsons on one of several farms they operate in Old Bight Cat Island. Getting to their farms isn't easy.
In this road now, we are now in Old Bight leading to the north side. And what has happened, this is the widest point in Cat Island, roughly about 5 miles from west to east, we call it, as direction. And this is roughly about 5 miles across. This road is where the fishermen uses to go to the north side. Same road we are traveling on now, we are having this photo taken. And farmers in yesteryear, this was one of the major roads that they used to use. Today we have about 4 farmers really who uses this road as farmers. But all the fishermen, or most of the fishermen from the southern end, if they want to go to the north side, have to use the same type of terrain to get to the north side.
What's the biggest challenge for farmers in Cat Island?
The biggest challenge for us, as you could see, is the road. Getting to the land. Because where I'm farming now is land that is generation land. And getting here is very tedious. You see how we have to come up the hill? This is my husband is bringing one and only wife, my children, only mother. You wouldn't get me drive up here, Mr. Boris. No, sir. Well, I don't drive. If my husband is not here to drive the car, then everything is at a standstill. I walk. I park a certain distance and I walk to the farm.
The road.
Just the road. Just the road. We need help with the road.
The road issue is one the Wilsons say they will have to deal with as it comes. Their processing business was born out of necessity.
Instead of everything going to waste like the tomatoes, because the exchange will only, or the packing house is only going to take so much. And then my daddy went into that. And when I came here in 2003 back to Cat Island to live, my dad showed me how to process the tomato in the bottle. And I found out it's a good thing to do because you don't have to waste, I don't have to waste nothing. Nothing that I farm for I waste. All right, I take my tomatoes and then I don't have to go in the store and I don't have to purchase tomatoes in the can.
And we put it in through this. Sure, bottles and everything.
Oh, already sterilized now. When you have to rinse them, turn them face down, you have to rinse them and I...
Surely you need this in here. Open up your crate so you get all those.
When I'm ready to put up my tomatoes. I have the milk. Get it. These ready now to take. That's what I was just going to do. Cut all these out, the eyes, and I boil them in a bag. Let me show you the bag I boil them in. I don't use onion bag no more. Yes, they wanted to market in a certain way because if you notice sometimes you go in the food store and you see the bottled tomatoes, you see water at the bottom, then you see the thick stuff, the tomato, and then at the top you see water also. That's not good stuff because sometimes when you open that, you have an explosion. That's not the proper way to harvest, to process and harvest the tomato in the bottle. See this? This is what I use. I make my bag.
Olga used what her father taught her and improved on it.
See? Now I don't put this on in my, when I secure this, I boil this in this, 2 hours in the drum. And when it's finished, I hang it up, let it drip. Next morning I grind.
Olga is a cancer survivor. She says her mission is to use each day to help better her island and her country through farming.
Can we feed ourselves in the Bahamas?
We could. We could feed ourselves. But the thing is we have to get our young people involved. Young people don't want to get involved in this type of work because it dirty your hands. You can't have the nice nails and you have to think of the animals and then you have to think of those people who don't want to work while you're sleeping at night or when you go home in the afternoon, they're watching you and they come and they raid your farm. That's the only problem. But young people, and I think it should start from the school where we should use experienced farmers and take them in the schools and teach our young people. I have a little granddaughter, she's 13, and she was with me from she was 6 years old. But she know very well about farming. She know how to harvest the beans. She know how to harvest the peas. She know when it is young peas or it is young beans. She know when watermelon is come to maturity, and she know when the pumpkin come to maturity, and she know when the corn come to maturity, and she know when the corn is dry and ready for harvest. And she's only 13.
As a former teacher, sharing knowledge with young people is never far from the top of her mind. She's got some thoughts on how the government can jumpstart farming among young people like those on Cat Island.
Well, I think if government would give us some land and then we could go in and have the children take at least 2 periods, 2 hours every week. And they go on this farm and we show them how to plant, we show them how to weed, we show them how to harvest and how to take care of the crops, the amount of fertilizer that we need. It'll even be beneficial for the school, but the school will be making money. All right? Because they're doing it in Andros and doing it in other family island. I think it's Abaco or Grand Bahama, wherever they're doing it. And I think Cat Island could do the same thing because we have the Crown land, government have the land. Give it to the school.
Okay, my name is Ivan L. Clare, and I'm the owner of this farm. It's called Shake the Tree Farm. Well, I think I come from a long line of farmers. My grandparents were farmers, started out in Gambia Village a long time ago. My people here in Cat Island also were farmers. And so I guess it was just in the bloodline. Sooner or later I would have come into it. And I started out as a hobby, and then I move on up, like I told you. I started practicing on some farm that I leased in Bonefish Pond, and I got some practice there, some practical practice, and this is where it's brought me so far.
This is Shake the Tree Farm in Old Bight, Cat Island. For years, it was simply known as Mr. Clare's farm. His son, Ivan Clare, is the brains behind what has become an entirely new farming operation built on top of the old one. Clare is planting trees meant for juice extraction.
Over here is the passion fruit. If you notice, I have them on a fence, and they're starting to bear again. The passion fruit is starting to bear again. And again, like I mentioned to you, as I mentioned to you, here are the sour oranges. If you notice, they're straight down on a line. So you can sort of like find the sour orange. There are sour oranges, right? And like I mentioned, we have the older trees. This was my father was planted in 1985 thereabout, but I keep on weeding them out, and they're there. But they finish almost. Their season is over, right? Of course, this is my little nursery. If you notice, I have some plants planted out in the front. So what I have to do is get my cuttings and you know what I mean, help myself. And this is what I have out there. My wife, Dr. Brenda McClare, she liked to experiment with the juices, and it's profitable too. It's not only an experiment, but it's paying off. And so I need to provide the raw material for her to do her juices. And I didn't mention passion fruit. We do a lot of passion fruit as well. Good juice. Of course, this is pomegranate. Mm-hmm. And like I mentioned to you before, this farm is developing. It's not there like how it should be yet to have everything. But what is happening is that I'm trying to learn the land. What will bear better here or there or whatever have you. As I have to work with the land. I can't work against it. This land will give you some things, because if you notice, you have a lot of rock, but yet still I'm getting some good yields. Okay? All right. Of course, we still into slash and burn. Everything is manual or mechanical. What we have here, right, is planting. All of this here is planting. I bought these planting suckers from Elutra. And in here, we had a whole lot of Benny. But of course, the Benny season is over. And so
Clare is hoping that he can turn the Bahamian taste for plantains into a business opportunity. The majority of plantains brought into the country are coming from South America.
All of these here plantain suckers that I bought and imported. No insurance on the farm yet.
While his plantain groves are just starting up, his plans are well advanced.
I'm hoping that I could be sending plants back to Nassau. All plants.
Clare is a true believer in processing as a means of adding value to his crops.
If you want it to be sustainable, when you think about the labor costs, as far as preparing the land, the irrigation, the transportation, buying the raw materials like bottles, etc., etc. You have to find some ways to sustain this, because you just can't say, well, hey, look, I have some pigeon peas. Now you got to get the pigeon peas sold. You can't just say, I have some corn. When you have corn, you don't have a mill. You have to take it to someone to get it milled. So farmers have to find a way to supplement this. Sometimes you got to be prepared that the mail boat mightn't come for 2 weeks. So what happened if I have all these papayas or watermelon and the mail boat didn't come? What am I going to do with it? So you got to be thinking about cooking jams or freezing or whatever. You have to do something to help yourself.
This is where Claire plans to do all of his processing in the future.
What I have here now is corn to go to the mill. All of this here is corn already off the cob. This one is here, this one off the cob here, but this here is green corn and ready to go to the mill. These two will go to the mill, and over there is pigeon peas that we reaping. In these bags here, pigeon peas that we reaping. Okay? Those are pigeon peas. This is pigeon peas. And we're still reaping. Okay? But this is because we're doing construction. If you notice, the men on what's not are still working, and that is why I have to move things around, and that's why it might look helter-skelter, but believe you me, it's a plan, you know. But the men are working, and I'm going to be using some of the storage overhead. That's why you have this open space that I can put bottles or whatever, like a catwalk on top. Also, too, if I'm going to do juicing and all that, people will want to come in and see what kind of health measures that I have. And so I have to sort of like set up to be able to show them if I have a contract with any of the hotels or supermarkets or whatever of you. If I don't have this layout, then they'll be thinking, hey, look, this man working on his kitchen. I don't want to work on my kitchen. I want like something set up where I can do my own thing, right? And where it'll be acceptable and it'll be at a standard. And so this is what is happening here. Flour. Corn flour, right from the corn, but you saw the corn in the back, right? And this is the result of the corn from the back. Flour, grits. Okay? And this here, when I go selling, I have my bag. And this here is my green bean. You know, you see the green bean, the wine in the back? That's my green bean. Vacuum sealed. Frozen. Of course, frozen. That's why I have it in this insulated bag.
By vacuum sealing and freezing his beans and peas and processing, packaging, and branding his corn grits and corn flour, Claire is extending the value of his crops in ways that make them attractive to store owners and importers in Nassau. He's constantly experimenting with new ways to use traditional crops. His wife, Dr. Brenda May Claire, has found great use for his fruit products.
And this is the passion fruit. As I clean the passion fruit, it's passion fruit. But now what will happen now is I have to boil this, then process it to make what I'm making. This is papaya. And I clean the papaya. This is what I do. You might see papayas. I clean this. I send it to Nassau. We make the juice from this. But what I want to do is I'm trying to and this. This is my pigeon peas.
Oh, it's packaged.
Yeah.
Turn around. Let me see, baby.
Shake the tree farm.
Nice.
For Cat Island, all we need to do is find a way for us to get our food to the market. Do not discriminate against what we grow. You want to tell us that you're not going to take certain types of pumpkin, like scrubby pumpkin. You want to tell us you're not going to take watermelon that is indigenous to Cat Island, like the Charleston Gray or the Rattler. You only want the Crimson Sweet. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm thinking that we could supply Cat Island and we could supply the rest of the Bahamas if you don't discriminate and find a way to help us.
Claire feels that the packing houses need to be a lot more flexible in the varieties of crops they accept. He says that's one of the ways we can feed ourselves.
You keep saying the Bahamas, but I can't really talk for the Bahamas at this particular time. But I believe we can on some things. I believe that we can feed ourselves with grits. I think flour. I think we can feed ourselves with staple food, the staple diet. Yes, I believe we can do that because we can do more from the coconut, more from the cassava, more from the potato, more from the bananas. Everything else, I'm thinking that we can do it. If other people could do plantain chips and banana chips or whatever have you, if they can do cassava flour and you know, boil the cassava French fries. And yes, I believe we can do it for as far as the indigenous food is concerned. Could the Bahamas feed itself overall? Honestly, I'm not qualified at this particular point because people might like filet mignon, they may like rib roast. So I don't know if we have that kind of cattle to do it, like to feed yourself from that point. But I believe we wouldn't starve. I think we have sufficient food here. We got the bean, peas, we got everything here as far as the staple diet which we grew up on, and we didn't die. We're still here. And we were more healthier then when we were eating tamarind, juju, and dilly and all that. We can feed ourselves with that year round. There's no doubt about that. But now when you're talking about the other fancy food that were introduced, I'm not so sure that we could sustain ourselves from that level. But from the survival level, yes sir, we can.
Claire is president of the Cat Island Farmers Association. He's encouraging his farmers to expand their horizons beyond simply growing staple crops and to also focus on livestock. He thinks Cat Island is perfectly positioned to become a strong supplier of mutton and other protein in this country.
And I believe that there are certain livestock like lamb. I think we can do rack of lamb, certain portions of lamb that we have to import. I believe we can do some of that. I believe if the Cat Island Farmers Association were to go into a cooperative where we can set up a business and get loans, this is where we can get into some of this. Now, I don't know how far we will go with the beef, but I believe as far as the lamb, poultry, I believe that we can really do well in this particular area.
The next step for the association, according to Claire, is for the farmers to form into a cooperative and pool their resources to invest in modern farming techniques, such as greenhouses and grow houses. Having traveled the nation and internationally to look at similar technology, Claire feels that Cat Islanders can benefit tremendously by coming together.
I'm trying to sell to them that if we form it right, we can get a turnkey type greenhouse where people come in and build it for us, train us how to run it, put in the proper equipment as far as automatic fertilization, automatic irrigation, sanitary conditions, etc., etc. So we're not thinking about building the greenhouses ourselves. We're thinking about having a turnkey operation, whether it be the Israelis, Americans, whatever have you. They would have to come in and do it for us. And so that's the level of maybe the second time around we could build our own greenhouses, but not the first time. For it to be successful, sustainable, economical, and also be a learning process, because we're moving now from slash and burn to higher technology, computer.
Cat Island farmers are a resilient bunch. With memories of the old days when Cat Island was one of the main national producers of tomatoes, many feel a turnaround is possible. They're also ultra-realistic. They know that no advancement for Cat Island as an agricultural contributor can happen without the shared knowledge and resources of their fellow farmers. They're confident that they're heading in the right direction, and are not at all shy about standing up for their island when the opportunities come up. They say Cat Island can and will feed itself when the time comes.